Can they hear me? Oh, we can hear me. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ebony Bell, and I'm here with the WNRG, and we have brought Sheri Riley here today. We're so excited. We're partnering with the Impact NRG, so this is a great collaboration. So we have a few announcements. First things first, make sure you sign up in the back, sign the sheet so you'll be able to get your Wow Bucks. And then also, excited to announce, Sheri will be able to sign her book after the presentation today, and she'll be signing it as well. So be sure to, right after, we'll be in the sunroom where the piano is, so you'll be able to buy a book and have it signed as well. So we also have a few other announcements. September 12th of this year, WNRG Speaker Series presents the Empowerment Project from 1 to 2. So please sign up in the Learning Center. I've seen that movie already. It's amazing. I will be seeing it for a third time. So please sign up. We also have new WNRG podcasts every Thursday on Buzz, so you'll see where you can text to get those podcasts. Tara leads those, so she's amazing, so please sign up for that. Also, the Impact NRG is doing Walking Wednesdays, and they're up and running, so take a part in the challenge and continue to get your steps in throughout the summer, even though 100-Day Dash has just ended. The event will be called Walk Wed Impact. So join our Walk Wed team at Go365 to participate. This allows work and home associates to join as well virtually. And then also a plug for an upcoming event in October, Women and Investing. So now to introduce Sheri. So she is a mother, a wife, a daughter, and an entrepreneur. She has spent 20 years creating innovative marketing strategies for some of the world's biggest celebrities and corporations, including Usher, TLC, Tony Braxton, Converse, NBA, TNT, and many more. Her award-winning book, Exponential Living, Stop Spending 100% of your time on 2% of who you are, 10% of who you are. Like, raise your hand if that's you. Like, I heard Sheri speak last year, and I bought her book, and I was like, wow, that's what I need to do. So, just amazing. So it's a 2018 NAACP Image Award nominee. It has won several 2017 Self-Help Book of the Year awards. She's been a speaker for Delta Airlines, Atlanta Hawks, Steve Harvey's Act Like a Success conference, Prudential, the Coca-Cola Company, Petco, Exelon, Delta Airlines, CVS Health, Turner, NBA Wives Conference, University of Georgia Women's Basketball Team, and the NAACP. She serves on the National Arts and Letters Commission for her sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the University of Louisville Alumni Board of Directors, and is a founding member of the Global John Maxwell team. So please welcome Sheri Riley.
Hello. Can you guys hear me? Perfect. I think I'm on. I think so. Am I? I don't think so. Perfect. Hello, everybody. If y'all see me limping, it's because I have a broke toe. And I'm looking for sympathy there. Because I always have heels on, and I can say this in this room, so I'm struggling to have these flats on. But as I was sharing with Kelly, I'm a woman of a certain age, so wisdom has kicked in. And I carry the heels, but I did the flats. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I am home, so I am excited. So we are going to dive right in. So this right here is universal for three things. It's universal for three things. The first thing that is universal for is surrender, right? I am done. Like, I'm done, right? The second thing that is universal for is gratitude. Yes. Oh my God, thank you. Yes. Right? And the third thing that it's universal for is victory. Right? Remember last year when Lamar Jackson would throw them touchdown passes? He was like, yes. Right? Victory. So it's universal for three things. What's the first one? Surrender. The second one? Gratitude. What's the third one? Victory. So I want everybody to stand. Everybody stand. How many just had lunch? There we go. Yeah, we're going to work off that lunch. Yes. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of one thing that you're going to surrender. Like you're done. You are done. Yes, you got your 15, right? Just one. You will not leave this room and continue that, whatever that is. You're done. And you've been done for a long time. You just haven't made the commitment. Now, I want you to think of that one thing, but here's what I want you to do. You're going to follow me on the count of 3. We're going to put our hands up in the universal sign for surrender, right? But I want you to just, in your mind, I want you to just think about that one thing. I want you to release it. This is just between you and your God, you and your universe. This is just that thing that you know you are done. It could be a person, it could be a place, it could be a thing, it could be a mindset, it could be an idea. It could be some baggage you've been carrying around that you know you're done. Okay? Everybody know on the count of 3 to yourself. I want you to say that thing in your head on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hands down. Now, the second thing, what's that thing that you're grateful for? But here's the trick. You haven't even stopped to celebrate it. You just moved on to the next thing. Because isn't that what we do, ladies? Have this goal, knock it out, get to it, now to the next. We don't even stop and celebrate, acknowledge. We don't even say thank you to ourselves for sticking to it long enough to do it, right? So what's that one thing that you're grateful for, that you're so thankful for? You haven't? Take a moment to just say thank you to yourself. Say thank you for accomplishing it. Thank you for doing it. But this time, I want you to say it out. Just say it out, right? Just speak it out. Okay, we got it? Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. But I want you to speak it out, what you're grateful for. 1, 2, 3. Say it out. Yes. Yes, hands down. Now y'all know where we're going on the third one, right? Right? The third one is that victory. That victory. That victory. And here's the thing, but this one, we're on the 25th floor? This one I want them to hear us in the basement. I want security to be like, what are they doing? Because victory has a voice of triumph attached to it, right? I want you to scream this thing out so loud that the walls shake. Because some of us have had victories that we just need to scream about it. Because here's the thing. I saw this on line the other day. It said, don't judge my breakthrough until you know my been through. Right? There's some people in here that need to scream from the depth of their toenails all the way out for that thing that there's victory in your life. That child that came back home. That husband that got his mind right. That boss that just got better or got out. Right? It's a victory. That lifestyle change that you've been wanting for so long. On the count of 3 with the voice of triumph. 1, 2, 3. Let it out. Let it out. Yes, yes. You may take your seats. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, thank you. So I usually, at this point, start sharing about this small town in Kentucky. But I can actually say Richmond, Kentucky, because y'all know where I'm talking about, right? Right. So I just want to share a couple things with you. As Ebony has already shared, back in the 90s, I was responsible for the marketing of some of the biggest artists in the world. Toni Braxton, TLC, the Olympic album. But I also was responsible for the marketing of this unknown teenager that we talked about. Ebony's already talked about, Usher. And during that time, he was 15. His voice was changing. He had acne. And so the company didn't really know what to do with him. So during this period, me, him, and his mom led the charge to break him as an artist. And some 20 years later, we all know he is now a global superstar. But right before we released his breakout record, let me see if we got any Usher fans in the house. You make me want to leave the one I'm with and start a new relationship with you. There we go. Yeah, go Kelly. Go Kelly. Yes. Right before we released that record, I realized that it was time for me to resign and start my own business. But I also knew that I could no longer work with Usher. I knew that he needed my friendship more than my marketing expertise. But I also knew this was going to be a really tough conversation to have with this teenager. Because like I shared, so many executives had already turned their backs on him. So I went and we were sitting in the office lobby of the building that I worked in, and he's sitting and I'm holding his hands and I'm sharing with him that it's time for me to resign and start my own business. Yes! Oh, Sheri, yes. Yes! That's what I'm talking about. Now you can work with me exclusively. No. Have any of you ever had to make a decision that you knew was going to cost you money, career opportunity, and advancement? Anybody else had to make those decisions? Yeah. That decision, honestly, at this point, it's cost me millions of dollars, right? And when I made the decision, people thought I was crazy. I'm passing up hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, right? And when I say people, I mean me. Me. But ladies, that one right decision allowed him and I to form a bond of a brother and a sister. But more importantly, it allowed me to get crystal clear on my purpose, on my passion. And that is what I'm doing here, to serve as an empowerment speaker, life strategist, and author. See, every month in O Magazine, that great and wise philosopher, Oprah, right? Every month she shares what she knows for sure. And what I know for sure is that not going on a business journey with him, being a part of his personal journey, allowed me to understand the phenomenon of what will you give up to go up? What will you give up to go up? The reality is I've come today because I want to shift your entire paradigm. I want to change your whole mindset. I want you to leave this room thinking totally different. I want you thinking in an expanded way. I want your mindset to be shifted in a way. I want your paradigm to be shifted in a way that all the things that you've been saying I don't know to, you will finally say, you know what? Yes. If it don't work, I'll course correct. If it works, I'll rinse and repeat. But what I won't do is I won't keep saying I don't know. What will you give up to go up? What will you give up to go up? I graduated from Model High School in Richmond, Kentucky, EKU. And about 3 years ago was our 30-year high school class reunion. 30 years. I told you I was grown, right? That's me up there in the corner. This is our 30-year high school reunion. And I got to be honest, I had a lot of trepidation about going back. Because outside of a few connections on Facebook, I hadn't really stayed connected. We hadn't really stayed connected, right? So I'm just kind of a little nervous. I'm anxious, and I'm in, getting dressed, and I'm just kind of thinking back to, this 18-year-old, and I'm just kind of thinking about this 18-year-old and all the dreams that I had at 18, growing up in Richmond, Kentucky. And I'm thinking about, at 18, I wanted to buy my mom a home. And by the age of 27, I'd done that. I wanted to work in the entertainment industry. I'd done that. I'm thinking about all these dreams. And I'm just kind of man, oh, my God. I've really accomplished a lot of these things. And so I'm starting to, think about all the times life had kicked me in the face and I got back up, right? I'm starting to hear a little Jay-Z in my head, allow me to reintroduce myself, right? I'm kind of like, let me tell y'all, there's a freedom you get dancing naked in the mirror, right? Right? And I'm thinking about, these amazing things, and I'm starting to think about, okay, who I was and what I was at 18, and now here I am at 40 something, and I'm starting to see this gap. I'm starting to recognize this gap of all of this confidence that I had at 18, that, to be very honest, I didn't have at 48. But it confused me, because how can I have accomplished all these amazing things, but wasn't that confidence? And I just kept unpacking this, because if I was real honest in that mirror, I wasn't confident. What I realized as I continue to unpack this is that I was driven, but I was not confident. I was driven, but I wasn't confident. And I felt like, okay, that's kind of wild, right? And so I started asking my clients and asking my friends, like, are you driven or are you confident? And literally, over and over, Sora, I kept hearing, wow, I'm VP, I'm senior this, I'm director of that, I'm executive director of this, and you know what, Sheri? I'm not confident. And I started to realize drive is what pushes us to achieve. Confidence is who we are when we get there. How many of you have sat at a table with your colleagues, corporate executives, partners, and you're looking like you got the title, but something ain't clicking? Am I the only one that's been in them rooms? Okay, don't raise your hand. You'll tell on somebody. Don't raise your hand. But here's what I discovered. Drive is our protective strength. Confidence is our vulnerable strength. Confidence is who you show up as when ain't nobody looking. Confidence is who should come to work with you, but many times we leave confidence in the car because drive takes over. And that's what I want to bridge the gap with. I want to bridge the gap where personal development fuels the professional growth. Because what I uncovered is there's a vulnerability in when you show up authentically who you are. But there's also a power in that. Betsy, in our session we had before this, talked about the authenticity of just being who you are. But so many of us, especially women, we put every mask we know, mom, wife, divorcee, daughter, graduate, executive, all of these masks we put on, and drive takes us where we want to go. And then this is my story. Then we get home and sit in the dark because we're miserable. That's just my story. And so as I continue to uncover, how do I bridge this gap? How do I bridge this gap between drive and confidence? Because I really knew that I needed both of them to show up. I no longer wanted to show up driven and empty. I wanted to show up driven and whole, and that's where confidence lived. And so I uncovered this thing that I call be a disruptor in your own life. That's what you shared, Yvonne. Being a disruptor in your own life. Being a disruptor, everybody's heard of Uber. You've heard of Uber, raise your hand, right? Uber is a disruptor in the ground transportation business, right? Completely shifted the game. I mean, in Atlanta, there's a whole nother area in the airport that you now go for rideshare. They changed everything. Google is a disruptor. It's a verb now. It disrupted everything. My daughter will never know what an encyclopedia is, right? Never. That's what we have to do in our own lives. Yvonne, you gave the perfect example. You literally have been in this lane your entire career, and you shifted into a whole nother lane. And what you said was, I'm empowered, I'm impassioned every day, because you became a disruptor in your own life, right? When we are a disruptor in our own life, and it's not drastic. Some of us may shift careers or career opportunities. Some of us may just get up an hour and a half earlier and work on that thing we've been wanting to work on. Some of us may have that hard conversation with our children, our spouses, our friends, our colleagues, our boss that we've been needing to have. See, that's where the confidence is. That's where confidence and drive lives. So being a disruptor in our own life is so key for that drive and confidence. And what I've found is when we stop spending 100% of our time on 10% of who we are is the greatest disruptor there is. Stop spending 100% of our time on 10% of who we are. Because that's the challenge for us, is drive will allow our lives to just keep getting narrower and narrower and narrower until we wake up and don't know who we are. We just keep showing up. And so I went on this journey for me, because this was my truth. I had this amazing job, as I shared, and my life had narrowed down, and I was spending 100% of my time on 10% of who I was. And I thought I was an anomaly. And I started going on this journey to uncover the how, because I knew the what. You know, we know what to do. We don't know how to do it. And so I started to uncover the how. I'm a marketing executive at heart. I knew that was an amazing tagline, right? But I wanted to know the how. And as I went on this journey, I uncovered this very simple principle that I call exponential living. And that's what the book is all about. It's exponential living. It's the how. How we stop spending 100% of our time on 10% of who we are. And I found that we do that with these three simple realities: pursuing peace, choosing clarity, and living courageously. Pursuing peace, choosing clarity, and living courageously. Regardless of how complex life's issues are, over the last almost 20 years, these three things have been the anchor for my life, for my clients' life, from the corporations that I work with, the teams that I work with: peace, clarity, and courage. And when I say pursuing peace, it's because it's not a destination, it's a lifestyle. It is a day-to-day commitment to pursuing peace and that positivity that's attached to it. Choosing clarity, because it is a choice. The one thing I want you to do today is stop saying I don't know. Because in between the I don't know and the I don't know is everything that you do know. But as long as you cap what you do know in between the I don't knows, you'll never move. So when you remove the I don't knows, you get clear on what you do know. It may not be the total answer, but it keeps you moving forward. So we have to choose the clarity. And then living courageously. When peace and clarity come together, you are courageous to make any decision. Make any decision. Have any conversation. And so exponential living is a lifestyle of pursuing peace, choosing clarity, and living courageously. And there's 9 principles of exponential living. These are the 9 principles which I talk about in great detail in the book. But with respect to time, today I want to focus on the first principle: live in your power. Hometown boy. Yes. I take him all over the world with me. The first principle is live in your power. Live in your power, and it starts with the decision. So many of us are stuck because we won't make the decision. I get asked all the time when I do interviews, okay, Sheri, all that's great, but where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start? Make a decision. It all starts with the decision. So today we're going to walk through how do we make that decision. And the first key, there's 5 keys to living in your power. There's 5 keys that I say that gives us that increased peace and that increased productivity. The first P is our perspective. What is your vision? What is your vision? And not just your vision for Humana, not just your vision for your career, because that's the challenge we have, is that we'll separate ourselves and we'll say, this is the vision for my career, this is the vision for Humana, what I've got to do. Then if we have a little time, we'll think about the vision for our children, and we never get to the vision for us, right? Right? It's not separate. You're not separate. What is your vision is all of you. All of you. What is the perspective that you have? That's why I start with surrender, gratitude, and victory. Because I want to set the perspective of what I want you to walk away with. What is that perspective? I had the honor, I've worked with Steve Harvey many times. I've done his conference, I've been on his show, and at one point I've shared the stage with him several times, and he shares this story about how he was $20 million in debt with the IRS, right? $20 million in debt. Now, I'm an entrepreneur, so when you're in debt with the IRS, that's a little different than credit card debt, right? That interest and penalties, they're generating every second, right? But his perspective, his vision was, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire. I'm going to be a multimedia success. That's the vision. And when we have the perspective, when we have the vision, then we can see the steps on how to get there. So many people don't have clarity because they can't see the steps. And so I love what Andy Stanley says. Many people die after living a long life with their dreams never fulfilled because they don't have a vision to guide them through the process. Vision is born in the soul of the person who is consumed with the tension between what is and what could be. Again, the challenge is not that you don't have vision for your career. The challenge is, do you have the vision for you as a person, as a whole, not just what you are deemed to do 9 to 6, but who you come in here with that happens to you between 6 p.m. and 9 a.m. That's the focus. That's the vision. So the first key to living in your power is your perspective and your vision. The second key is ownership. Ownership. What are you focused on? What are you focused on? In 2014, I did the most courageous thing I've ever done in my life. At that time, I had been working 7 years on the book proposal. Now, for anyone who's thinking about writing a book or writing a book, when you want a publisher to put your book out, you have to do a book proposal before you even get to the book. So I have spent 7 years trying to get the book proposal done. Not the book. Y'all hear what I'm saying? The book proposal. 7 years. So in December 2014, I was just desperate. I literally just took 80% of everything off my to-do list. I mean, everything. I left 3 things. Lose 25 pounds, get my book proposal done, and increase my speaking engagements. That was it. If anything on my to-do list didn't directly or indirectly hit those 3 things, it came off. Yeah, I was a nervous wreck. Yeah, your heart is like beating like, really, girl? I can't even imagine. Yeah, I literally, a month later, January 7th, I sent my book proposal to my agents. They called me back in 15 minutes and said, oh my God, Sheri, you found your voice. A month later, in February, I had 5 publishers who wanted my book deal. 5. What had taken me 7 years to get done, I did in 8 weeks. Why? Because I got clear. I got focused. And here's what I learned taking 80. Now, you guys probably don't have to be as drastic as I am. I am an overachiever. I broke a part of my toe. The doctor said he's never seen anyone break. Right? I was like, I'm an overachiever. I can't help it. He's like, I can never say you can't break that bone because you have proven me wrong. You can break that bone. So you don't have to take 80%. But here's the thing. Get clear on those 3 things. And I love that. Get clear on the 3 things. Because what happened in that time of releasing myself of all the busy work that wasn't allowing me to be productive, I realized 3 things. The first thing was a third of the stuff I took off my to-do list, literally, I don't even remember what it was. Right? It's weighing me down every day on my to-do list. I don't even remember what it was. It was that important at the time, so I felt depleted at the end of the day, no matter how much I got accomplished, because those things were still on my list. I don't even remember what they were, because it's such a habit for us. It comes up, where do we put it? Where do we put it? On the to-do list. It comes up, we put it on the to-do. We don't even think about it. So the first thing I learned is I don't remember half of it. The second thing I learned, another third of the things I took off my list, honestly, somebody else should have been doing them. My daughter should have been doing them. There were some things my husband should have been doing. Come on, I'm going to be honest. Hey, right? The thing is, he may not fold the towels the way I want them folded, but doggone it, they're in the drawer. Let it go, Sheri. Let it go. There were so many things other people should have been doing. And the other thing I learned is that a lot of the things on my to-do list were chronologically out of order. Meaning, I was putting them on my to-do list in December, but really they shouldn't have been on my to-do list until May. So they're weighing me down every day, but they were chronologically out of order. Because again, it's just a habit. We just put it on the to-do list. So I want to charge you. What are the 3 things that you need to focus on? And I'll give you a little leeway, 4. What on your to-do list, honestly, doesn't need to be there. Someone else can do it. Or doggone it, it's just the wrong time. Because here's the thing. Once I had my 3 things, what was one of them? Secure my book deal. Well, in February, I did that in 8 weeks. So now what do? I go get that other most important thing and put it on the list. I want us to get free of busy and be committed to productive. I want us to get free of busy. That was the disease that I had. And I felt like, well, I'm working, I'm doing, I'm running, I'm getting, but what have you accomplished? And that to-do list, that's just evil. It's just evil. So I want to know, what are we going to focus on? What are those 3 things that you're going to focus on? Everything else needs to come off your to-do list. And I know when we do the Q&A, someone's going to have a question, and we'll get to it because I always have the question of, okay, but how do I do that? Like, all of this stuff is important, right? How do I do that? Well, one of the ways that we do that is we have to recognize what Brene Brown says. We either walk inside our story and own it, or we stand outside our story and hustle for our worthiness. How much of that stuff on your to-do list is just because you're trying to hustle to validate that let's get into walking in our own story. And as we continue to get clear on those 3 things, right? What's most important when we get clear on those 3 things, what we start to recognize is when opportunities are actually distractions. How many opportunities are you really looking at, focused on, got on your to-do list, got to make it happen, got to show up for, got to be there, got to do it, and it's really a distraction? There was 3 things on my to-do list: lose 25 pounds, increase my speaking engagements, and finish my book proposal, get a book deal. I had this amazing opportunity with John Maxwell that came up during this time. Amazing opportunity. John Maxwell, right? I was going to make all the money from it. All I had to do was promote it. That is an amazing opportunity, right? That is an amazing opportunity. It was a distraction. Why was it a distraction? Because if I'm going to pick up the phone and call Humana, if I'm going to pick up the phone and call UPS, if I'm going to pick up the phone and call a company, who do I need to be talking to them about if my 3 things? Would you say, Kelly? Yes. But how many times do we focus on the opportunity, but it's really a distraction? But we can't get clear on what's the opportunity and distraction until we know what we focused on. You with me? And we don't know what we're focused on until we get clear with our perspective. Right? See how this all comes together? How we live in our power? How we increase our productivity by focused on our inner peace? So when we are able to recognize when the opportunity is a distraction, when we're able to get clear on our plan. Now, I know we all in corporate America, so we're used to the multi-page plan, right? 3 things. Now, I'm giving y'all a little leeway, because usually I say 1 or 2. But I know this is going to be tough for y'all, so I'm going to give y'all an extra one. What are those 3 things? And here's the key. All of it's important. What's most important? What's most important? Most important, 25 pounds so I can get healthy. Most important, increasing my speaking engagement so I can make a living. Most important, getting that book deal. It was the anchor for everything. Now, were there other things like the John Maxwell opportunity? And, oh, my God, if I told y'all some of the stuff that I didn't do, you'd be like, really? But if I'm going the wrong way fast, is that really what I want to do? I tell people all the time, I think the most painful things to do is to be a success somewhere and doing something that you really don't want to do. I think that's one of the most miserable things that I've done, and I believe many of us do. The 4th key to living in our power is the engagement. And this is the hardest one, but it's the most important. The engagement. What adjustments do you need to make so that you can implement? How many of us are thinking about yesterday and stressed about tomorrow? Right now. Right. Who? Okay. Yep. See, there we go. Thank you. Most people are like, I'm not that. No. We have to be present. I have an 11-year-old daughter. And when she was 6, she came home and shared that she wanted to play lacrosse. And my husband and I knew absolutely nothing about lacrosse. I mean, absolutely nothing. And so her very first game, it's about a 40-minute drive from where we live. And it's a Saturday morning. I think the game was around 10 o'clock. We had to get up at the crack of dawn on a Saturday. And so it's her and I. We're driving to the field, 40 minutes on a Saturday. And a girlfriend of mine that I hadn't talked to for quite a while called me while we were driving. So I'm like, I'll just wait till we get to the field and I'll call her back. So we get to the game, and, you know, I'm in the stands, and she's out on the field, on the football field, and I'm sitting there, and I have my iPhone, and I've got my earbuds in my ear and the iPhone between my legs, and I'm talking to my girlfriend through the earbuds, but I'm watching the game. I have no clue, Yvonne, what's going on. None at all. But I'm watching the game. So probably about the first quarter and a half, I finished talking to my girlfriend. I watched the rest of the game. My daughter wins her first ever lacrosse game. Yes. My baby's so affectionate, right, Tanya? My baby is so affectionate. So I know my daughter's going to run and jump in my arms. Because she's like me, she's competitive, she won. So I'm excited. So I'm waiting, I'm standing, and my baby's walking, off the field, and I'm bracing myself because I know she's going to jump in my arms. We're going to celebrate her win. And my baby walks up to me, and she stops right in front of me, and she goes, "Mommy, I can't believe you were on the phone for my first ever lacrosse game." And she walks to go be with her coach. My ego is like, are you kidding me, little girl? My ego is like, I just drove 40 minutes to bring your little butt to this game. My ego is like, there's 3 parents and I'm one of them. Like, are you kidding me right now? My ego is like, okay, finish up, coach. It's about to go down. Right? This is, okay, I can be real transparent. I am that black mama that's like, yes. Come on, because my ego is like, oh my God, I cannot believe this little girl. So she finishes up with her coaches, and my ego is waiting for her to come. And she comes over to me, and I literally pick her up, and I hug her, and I say, "Baby, mommy is so sorry. And I will never, ever be on the phone when there's something important to you." Because what my baby showed me in that moment is that my presence was not enough. I needed to be present. I needed to be present. If I see one more family at dinner, and all 4 of them, the 6-year-old, the 8-year-old, the mom and the daddy, and they all on their phones, I'm going to scream. If I see one more baby in a stroller, and got an iPad. Guys, we have got to be present. Our presence is not enough. How many of us, and Ebony, I'm not talking about you, even though this was you earlier, I'm not going to talk about you. I'm going to just show y'all what I do. So, okay, here's my computer. Here's the phone. So I got social media on that side. The computer's here. Here's the iPad, the phone. Conference call is right here. I'm doing my emails on the conference call. Oh, they're talking to me. I unmute. Yes, I did send that. Thank you. And I go back. That's just me? That's not just me? Nobody else does that? Okay, everybody else is present, right? Guys, we have to get present. Our presence is not enough. It's not enough with our kids. It's not enough at work. And here's what I want to share with that. I'm going to snap this back on real quick. Is we have this mindset that multitasking is a great thing. And scientifically, it has been proven there's no such thing as multitasking. There's no such thing. The brain can focus on one thing at a time. Now, the brain is so brilliant that it does like this. So it's like literally your brain is at the blink of it's faster than a neuroscientist. I literally said in his session, so he's proven this, that the brain literally can move faster than a blink of your eyelashes. But that's all it's doing. You're not multitasking. How many of you have sit at your desk all day long, got in your car, and you are exhausted? And you haven't done anything but sit at your desk on your computer, right? But the brain has been doing like this all day. There's no such thing as multitasking. And so what happens is when we're not present, when we're not engaged, right in the moment, we miss the joy of the moment. Who in the earlier session talked about they just wish we could have more joy in the moment? I think they may have went out. Remember when they said that, the joy in the moment? That was, I think Diane said that. Maria said that. The joy in the moment. But here's the other side of it. I live these principles. Literally, all of this is for me. I just get the honor of sharing it with everyone else. My productivity has increased exponentially when I focus in and stay present. When I create those blocks of time and I don't let anything else happen. The innovative thinking, the creativity. We think we're doing more, we're not. I have stunned myself at the level of execution my clients have increased to by fighting me to be present. Our families, how many of us have children that as soon as they get in the back of the car, we just want them to be quiet? Oh my God, because I need to focus on this email. I'm thinking about what I got to do when I get home. Baby, just be quiet. And then we wonder why at 16 they don't talk to us. We taught them that. We have got to be present. And the fifth key, and the final key is the reward. The reward. We have to stay consistent. We have to stay consistent. And the way we stay consistent is through identifying our triggers. What are the triggers that keep you from being consistent? Whether it's weight loss, for me, it's social media, and not the way you think. Social media, I don't get on and stay on. What social media does is a trigger for me. I want everybody to win. That's why I'm here. I want everyone to win. But when I get on social media, something in me is like, okay, you're not doing enough. You need to do more. What are you doing? You need to add 5 more things to your list. It's like, hold up. This is my plan. Let me stay here. What's your trigger? Is it a friend that you talk to, and every time you talk to them, no matter how positive you are, they just like, Lord have mercy, girl. I know the sun is shining, but it's going to rain tomorrow. I know it's going to rain tomorrow. You know, it's going to rain tomorrow. Can we just enjoy the sun today, right? Is it a conversation? Is it a friend? Is it a place that you go? Is it a thought that you keep playing over and over? That's the trigger. In order to stay consistent, we have to identify our triggers. So here's the 5 keys. What is your vision, your perspective? Ownership, what are you focused on? Wisdom, what is your plan? The 1 or 2 at the most, 3 things that you're going to focus on. The engagement, be present. Be present. And the last is the reward. What are those triggers that keep you from being consistent? Guys, if you don't remember anything else as I come to a close, if you don't remember anything else, This is the one thing I want you to remember. I want you to write it down, put it in your PDA. I want you to literally scratch this in every surface you have in your life. If we really want to live in our power, we have to broaden our definition of success. The challenge with us, especially here in the States, is that success is only defined by how many zeros we have in our bank account and how many commas we have between those zeros. And that narrow definition is killing us. Because what it's doing is it's robbing us of all of the joys that we experience every day. It's robbing us of the conversations we have, the friends that we have, the places we get to go. I tell my clients all the time, don't allow what you want to rob you of the joy of what you have. It's okay to want more. Don't let it rob you of the joy of what you already have. See, my definition of success is broad enough to include 13 years of marriage. And everybody that's married knows that's success, right? Right? Lord have mercy in the name of Jesus. Lord have mercy. Yes. Going to my daughter's lacrosse games. I no longer look at volunteering at her school as the obligation that I'm supposed to do, but the joy of what I want to do. It includes watching Blue Bloods with my mom on Friday nights because that's what she loves to do, right? It includes getting 8 hours of sleep consistently. Whoever said I'll sleep when I die is a fool. And I said it for many years. 8 hours of sleep consistently. Even our computers and our phones have to reboot. Even our phones and our computers have to reboot. We talked about recess a little bit earlier, and I talk about it in the book. Walking away from your desk for 10 minutes, I have come back. That thing I was stuck on, I walked away for 10 minutes. Just walked away. Came back, and it was like, oh, God, okay, I got it. 8 hours of sleep. Our families, our friends, if we can broaden our definition of success, it truly does allow us to experience exponential living. I love what Reese Witherspoon says. This is one of my favorite quotes in life. Many people worry so much about managing their career, but rarely spend half that much energy managing their lives. I want to make my life, not just my job, to be the best it can be. Can anybody relate to that? Yeah. So guys, I want you to stand up again. Everybody that's dozing off, this is for you. Because I want you to repeat this after me. I genuinely want you to read these words, hear these words, say these words. Today, I will dive into my deepest fear, to elevate to my highest faith, to accomplish my greatest achievements. That was awful. That was awful. Can y'all say it this time with some conviction? Can y'all say it this time with some conviction? Yes. Can you say it like you really mean it? Today, I will dive into my deepest fears, to elevate to my highest faith, to accomplish my greatest achievement. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Guys, you may be seated. I just want to share this with you as we open up for what I call exponential conversation, which is Q&A. The key to all of this is peace. Peace truly is possible. Peace really is our power, and peace is the new success. And I want to say this, and I say this with all sincerity. Don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. Let me explain what that means. What that means is you don't ask your question, provide your insight, or give your piece to this conversation. And then what happens is we go outside, and we're going to, hopefully everyone will come and buy a book. And you'll say, can I just ask you this question? Let me just get this one question. And then I'm going to answer the question. And it's going to be something that everyone in this room either had the question and didn't ask it, or an answer that they needed and didn't even know. And it happens. Well, it doesn't happen as much now because now I tell everyone, don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs have happened in this moment. Because no matter what I said, which was, I think, pretty good, right? Pretty good, right? No matter how good it was, it's not going to be better than what you actually have to offer. It's not. What you have to offer and the question and the answer that we have, I promise you, has always been the most powerful part of these sessions. So don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. If you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a thought, I've actually had one person a few times tell me, I don't believe anything you said. I don't believe it's possible. I don't believe any of that is possible. And I've asked her specifically, what do you think is not possible? And she said, I don't believe that I can have peace in the midst of the turmoil of everything that's happening in my life. And by the time we got finished, she to this day still emails me and texts me. But I cannot believe that it really is possible. My life has truly changed. So, how much time do we have, Ebony and Amy? Because my clock stopped. Perfect. So, don't be selfish. It always takes the first person to be the first person. So, I would love to have your comment, your question, your thought, your input. No questions, no thoughts, no input. Oh yes, Kelly, does anyone on it's Buzz, right? You have one right here? Yes, I have. Will you tell me your name first?
My name's Anita.
Hi, Anita. Anita was my amen coordinator. Anita was like, oh my God, yes.
I'm a disciple.
She lives a lot of this. She gives us this.
Yes.
For her.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
She builds a lot of what you said into us.
Yes.
Even though she doesn't have to.
Oh, I love it.
Well, thank you, Jessica.
I love
thank
it.
You.
Yes.
So, I guess the question I would have, and it's more of a comment and a question. So many times as women, we do not value ourselves enough to do this.
Yeah.
So what are some steps that we can take? Because, I'm with you on the peace and stuff, but I think and I guess speaking for a lot of women, we put ourselves, like you said, we put ourselves third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah.
So what are some tangible things that are mantras? Because I'm big on mantras. On things that we can say to ourselves that you are worth this. If you don't do this for yourself, you can't do this for anybody else.
Thank you for that question. Thank you. I get that a lot. And I'm going to share, I'm going to give some specific things. I'm going to start with an analogy. The reality is so many women are serving from their fumes. And then we get resentful, right? Because we're serving from our fumes. What I want to encourage you with is if you can envision a cup and a saucer. This is the saucer and this is the cup, right? And we let the water come into the cup and the water keeps pouring and then it pours over the side of the cup and then it keeps pouring and then it flows over the side of the saucer. This is where we're supposed to serve. We're supposed to serve from our overflow, not from an empty cup. We're serving from our fumes. So what helps women shift is that visual. If I can fill my cup first, I'm not being selfish. I am not taking away from my kids. I am not neglecting my husband. I'm filling my cup so I can serve them from my overflow. Because the more you overflow to them, the more they receive. But when we serve from our fumes, when we serve from our empty cup, that resentment is real. And our kids pick it up. Our staff and team members pick it up. Our spouses pick it up. Our parents pick it up. And we check it off the list because we showed up. But you showed up with an attitude, right? Even though you were smiling, your energy said, So what I always encourage us is first just get the visual. That it's okay to pour into you so that you can pour from your overflow. The second key is what you said already. The value. The value. Telling yourself, I'm worth. My bathroom mirror is covered with mantras and Bible verses and quotes because every day I have to remind myself that I am valuable. And so the second thing is stop the negative talk. But more importantly than that, give yourself permission to get help. Give yourself permission to, it's okay if your husband does not fold the towels right. Give yourself permission to call that friend that cousin and say, hey, can you drive from Richmond, Kentucky and just come spend this time with me? I just need a little extra help. And not go, you know what, she's not going to drive an hour and a half just to come spend an hour and a half with you. She welcomed it. Give yourself permission to get help. So the first one is pour into your cup. The second one is give yourself permission to get help, whatever that help is. And the third one is stop the self-sabotage. Stop the self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is rooted in ego, and ego is rooted in the need for validation. See, if I martyr myself, I'm validated. If I run myself ragged, I'm validated. I'm important to my kids if I say yes to everything knowing I should have said no to about 7 things. So when we stop self-sabotaging, which is rooted in ego, which is rooted in the need for validation, when we get to the heart of the validation and show up in confidence and say, I'm enough, no is a complete sentence, right? Fill your cup, give yourself permission to get help, and know you are validated. No is a complete sentence. Stop self-sabotaging. Does that give some real insight? Thank you. Thank you very much. We have time for one more. Do we have one on Buzz, Kelly? Beautiful.
Tasha Bruce is asking, do you have any tips on narrowing down those top goals?
Yes, I do. So earlier today, Josh said he talked about finding our passion, finding our purpose. And one of the questions, and his daughter asked him this question, and that is, if money wasn't an issue, what would you do? Right? And we ask ourselves that question because it's like perfect. Well, I kind of remixed that. I'm from the music industry. I remixed it. And I started asking myself, because when I asked myself, if money wasn't an issue, what would you do? But it didn't give me direction. So I started asking myself, because I was a speaker, I was a writer, I was a marketing executive, I could do online, offline, I could do all these things. If there was only one thing you could do, Sheri, what would it be? If there was only one thing that you could do, what would it be? And I realized that I like writing, but if I never wrote another book, if I never wrote another blog, I'd be okay. And I know that I'm a great coach. I got testimonial after testimonial. I know that God uses me in a way that blows my mind. But if I never coached another human being, I'd be okay. But if I couldn't speak, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't, and it made it real easy. That made it real easy. I'm a speaker. I was speaking for 10 years before I would say I'm a speaker. When I got that clear, when I asked myself, if you could not breathe, what would you do? What would you do? What's that one thing? I'm a speaker. When I got clear on that, it was very easy. So now, what adds to that and what takes away? So I'm still a coach, I'm still an author, but the one thing is never tampered with. Everything has to support that. So when you get clear on the one thing, and I talk about it, the overall navigating edge in the book, it allows you now to get rid of the distractions. So now when people come up to me and say, Sheri, will you do this? I am confident in saying no, because that's not my sweet spot. And it's been things that I could have made a lot of money doing. But again, to be successful at something that I'm miserable doing, that's not the life I choose, right? So the first thing we have to do is allow ourselves the opportunity to really own what that thing is. It may be mentoring. It may be listening. It may be teaching. It may be coaching. It may be serving. It may be leading, whatever that thing is. And then it helps you align what are those other support things. So for me, losing weight was critical because I couldn't keep up the stamina. I couldn't keep going. If I'm not healthy, then none of this matters. And then the second thing of increasing my speaking engagements, because I am a speaker. That's how I generate revenue. And the book was the anchor to all of it. So being able to really get clear on the one thing helps you then create the support things that then helps you get rid of, I can't say the bad word, right? The bad things. The things that honestly just don't align. Those are the opportunities that are distractions. And the biggest key is if we can free ourselves from that disease, FOMO. Everybody heard of FOMO? It's real contagious. Fear of missing out. Like, if we could rid ourselves of FOMO. So does that give them a clear answer? Yes. Guys, thank you so very much. I do not take it for granted that you in the middle of a Tuesday stepped away from your many responsibilities to come and share this time. Thank you so much. I will be at the Sunroom, right? The books are $25. I do have a couple pieces, the New Success t-shirts. I have 4 small and 1 large. I just sold out a couple of days ago. For anyone that would like a Pieces the New Success t-shirt. Those are $20, but with the book and the shirt, it's $40 altogether. So $25 for the book, $20 for the shirt, or $40 for the book and the shirt. Guys, thank you so very much. It has been my purpose and my pleasure to be of service to you today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.